Right, good morning guys and girls. Zoomed out view here on the Bitcoin chart. I'm going to stick to my slightly zoomed out approach. A big reason is also that because we are in a zone or in an area or at a price level which is quite crucial for my slightly zoomed out view. So this is a Fibonacci channel. You can see I took the, let me just get that magnet on again. So I took those two, that's the starting point of the Fibonacci channel. So those 2 points attached, and then I pull it down to this low here, the last low in July. And you'll see we can start looking at the 0.382 on the Fibonacci. I've hidden all the other irrelevant levels, and you can see how well it has been respected, not to the dollar but more or less. And then the 0.618, remember the 0.618 to the 0.66 are quite, that golden pockets always works well for Bitcoin. You can see the 618 has been respected, but in this case the 66 is much better. Those touches were really close there, and we got a rejection just last week off of there. And then the 786 is also really, that's a quite a strong Fibonacci level. And that's also acted really well, and look at that support right there. Now the bottom, remember, that's not part of my 3 pivot points. Look how perfect that bounce was off of that Fibonacci. So I recommend you keep this on your charts for a while until it's not respected anymore. But that brings me to, I just want to put some fixed range pulls in here. I think the first one is the most local one, yes, the one we are in right now. So obviously where we are right now, we need to overcome that point of control and stay above it. So we dropped below it, I think just before the weekend, or last week, and we need to reclaim that level. So that's our first step for today. So I'll be watching that level really closely. And then our next range is the one, the similar range we're trying to break into. Remember we were talking about these lows. Let me just get this line here, maybe that one. We were talking about those lows there and acting as resistance for us up there, and that's gonna, well, stay the same. But I think we should look at this, trying to find a confluence with that Fibonacci line. This point of control is really how can I say, confluence for that, and maybe that value area low of that range. You see that all corresponds with this 66 and that 618, and it's this 66 that we need to overcome. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit further to give it even more context. So the bigger, I've just taken the downtrend from the top to the bottom downtrend, a fixed range pull, and that is 100% in correspondence with that point of control of that smaller range that we're trying to break into there. So it just gives so much more power to these levels that we're looking at. So you can see why we rejected there where we did. So that was a rejection, and that was just a swing failure pattern. So these next day or the next day or two is going to be crucial to show strength, because we are definitely in an uptrend here. You can see we've made higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. This is we made a little bit of a dip here, but we're still on higher lows than there. So we need to move up. So this is really a good sign, or a strength sign for Bitcoin and for the bulls. But in the big scheme of things, we're still in a downtrend. So this is quite inspiring to see that high has been taken out. But we need to push, we need to take this high out now locally and move up, and that will be our next target. I hope this is quite clear and makes sense. And then I've just placed this block here for more clarity, so because the point of controls are crucial, that's the last level that we need to breach to really show a sign of strength. And the bottom, I took off the bottom of this value area, of this bigger downtrend range. The bottom of that value area corresponds with those lows there, and obviously we just need to get in there. So this block is crucial. So that's it for my Bitcoin view. I'll just quickly show the screen so that you can see my levels here if you are interested. Remember, the daily open is outside the value previous day value area high, and if we enter there, in many instances it'll drop down to the value area low. It didn't happen, I think on Friday we also had that, but it didn't happen, so it doesn't always happen, but if it happens, watch out for it, and there is a good chance. Then now I want to show you my trades that I'm in. The one is maps. I think I might have showed you this before. I've been watching maps for a while, and it's it is a lower market cap coin, so the volatility is quite high. I'll just there's a lot of lines here, but I'll explain quickly how, why, and what did I do. So if you look at this fix or this Fibonacci that I pulled from these pivots it made here to that high, then I said, okay, that was my first buy, my first entry, but I wasn't 100% sure what Bitcoin was doing, and we were below the VWAP as well. We would have been below the VWAP because I think I took it when we were around here. Sorry, when we were going down there, and we had just lost the VWAP. So I said that was my entry. I expected it to turn. It did turn slightly, but then it made quite a big drop down again. That was reacting to Bitcoin. And then I said, that's fine. If we lose that, then this bigger Fibonacci comes into play, from the pivot low there to the pivot high. You see, if I move it there, my buy 2 was there, my second entry was there. So I made smaller entries, divided it into two. If it turned there and it went up, it was a smaller trade but still a winning trade, but then it came down and picked it up. I got slightly worried when we dipped even lower than that, but like I said, these volatile, let me just see where that one was. Yeah, see, we didn't quite touch the 786, but that's still quite acceptable for well, for even for Bitcoin to go down to the 786. And yeah, there we go. So that pulled my average entry, well, from the buy 1 to the buy 2, so my average entry is there. And we reclaimed you see, the minute you reclaim that VWAP, you start it starts showing bullish signs, and then it pushed up at first. There was my TP1, take profit 1. You know what, let me remove these Fibonacci's because they're really causing a lot of clutter on my chart now. So the minute we overcame that VWAP, we pushed up quite hard. My take profit 1 was it, and then I moved my stop loss to entry. So I nearly came down and got stopped out here last night, but it bounced, and now it's pushing back up again. I really got close to my sorry, that's also TP, that's TP2. I should change those because that was my TP1 when I had my first entry, but obviously when my average entry moved lower, I wanted those highs, or just before those highs, to be my take profit 1. So this is my TP1, and I'll change that to TP2. So we nearly hit that this morning early, so I'm sure we're gonna push through and do that. And just my other trade, oxygen, also got in here a bit prematurely, but I want to show it because we learn from our mistakes. So you'll see my initial thoughts there. That was the low, that was the high. I said, okay, Bitcoin is looking bullish, so I want to enter there at that Fibonacci level you can see there. So I placed my order there, and obviously also a bit of a risky trade because that meant we were dropping below the VWAP. And what I didn't take into consideration was this well-respected anchored VWAP from these lows. Can't remember exactly where I got that, but then I saw that really is showing support, or that showed support for that low, and I should have waited for that because well, I entered the trade before that low, but I mean this was something lying below us, and it will definitely act like a magnet. And that's what happened. It came down here, and then I just stuck with the trade. I didn't have a very big stop loss. Let me just see where I got that Fibonacci from. Okay, that was the last big pivot there. Well, not the last big pivot, but that was the relevant pivot to give us that Fibonacci. And then I decided to have my stop loss just slightly below that. You can see how this is quite a good lesson for these anchored VWAPs, because it was really good support there, and then I thought yes, and we reclaimed the VWAP there, the normal VWAP. We came down, and then this golden pocket was support again. Once we reclaimed the VWAP there and combined with the anchored VWAP, then we showed really good strength. So I think when the two joined each other, that gave a bit of a better momentum or a better strength for oxygen to move up. There was the retest test of the VWAP, and voila, we above there. So this morning, so the VWAP always follows the daily open. So the daily open is there at 2 o'clock. You can see that's why this jump in VWAP. And now it looks like we've reclaimed the new VWAP, or the new daily VWAP as well. And we're above there, and we're above that daily level there. So you see that daily level was resistance there. We claimed it, so it's just looking quite strong now to me, and we're halfway to my first take profit. So I'll be the first to admit that this was a bit of a risky trade, but my positions are much smaller on here. So my strategy on here is normally I will take on the one trade, the one altcoin trade. I think I might have mentioned this before, and I'll wait till it hits the first take profit so that I can move my stop loss to entry. Then I have no more risk on this trade. Then I go look for another trade, and that's how I build these positions. So yeah, I've never gotten further than three trades at once, and then Bitcoin does something strange, and then I get stopped out, because remember, all my stop losses are then at entry. But that's the way I want to do it. I don't want to lose money. I want to build, and but I'm sure I'll get it right. In a, like when Bitcoin takes up or goes on a nice run, then I will probably get into 3 or 4 or 5 of these, and 1 or 2 of them will have a really big pop, and that's what I'm looking for. That's my end goal. Okay, I thought this was going to be a short video, but once again it goes over 10 minutes. Hope you have a lovely day, and keep your eyes on the charts. I'll speak to you again tomorrow morning. Cheers.